Okay, let us continue with this one. I want to see how this will go. 4. How to grow your mana pool. Hang on. Frickin'. I just hate when you wake up in the morning, you got freaking crust around your eye. That's so annoying. Anyway. I awoke to a clicking sound. From the sun coming through the cracks of the curtain, I could tell that the sun was fairly high in the sky. Did I oversleep? I went to sit up thinking that, but was stopped by Gina. You mustn't get up yet. Why? I asked, tilting my head. She blinked at me for a second, then before answering, You've been sleeping for 3 days straight, Lady Chelsea. Huh? I was shocked. According to the healers, your body needed a break after your status ailments were cured. We were told that once you had awakened, we should keep you in bed until a second examination. Okay. I replied, nodding from my spot on the bed. A little while later, an old man with a white beard that I'd never seen before came. He was wearing a black robe and had a red stole across his shoulder. Oh, this is the royal healer that Glenn mentioned. Ishel, whatever. A healer from the mage order, he said, introducing himself as he touched my forehead and wrists. Everything seems to be in order, but you mustn't rush things. Keep resting in your room for now. Thank you. I slowly sat up and bowed my head to him. Ah, that's right, I was told to give this to you once you awoke. Lord Ishel pulled a book from the large bag he was carrying. His Highness gave me this, thinking that you might want something to pass the time with. I opened it and saw that it was an illustrated guide to plants. But then I realized he'd said something odd. His Highness? Yes, he was very worried about you. Oh! Is he talking about Glenn? Oh, he might have jumped the gun there, dude! With that, Lord Ishel gave a smile and left the room. The term His Highness is used for princess, isn't it? Why is someone that important worried about me? No matter how hard I thought, I couldn't think of an answer, so I decided to look at my new book instead. Our first research session, I had only been able to think of pumpkin and sunflower seeds. If I looked through the book, maybe I'd learn a lot about lots of other seeds to make. With that in mind, I flipped through the book, and for some reason, I was able to learn things easily. Up until now, anytime I tried to learn anything, it felt like my head was all foggy, and it would take a long time before I could remember things. The change might have been from Lord Glenn clearing my status ailments. The guide I'd been given was centered on fruits and vegetables and even included how to cook them after harvesting. Fantasizing about how each seed would grow and what they could be cooked into after harvesting, the time just flew by. After a few days of bed rest, Lord Ishel finally gave me the go-ahead to get back to life as normal. Now I could finally return to the Institute, and thanks to my new book, I now had a lot of ideas for seeds I wanted to create. I was ready and raring to go when Lord Trist came to pick me up. You look a lot better today, he said with a big smile. I'm feeling better. Sorry for the trouble. I apologize with a little bow. Oh, that's right. I could ask him about something I've been wondering. I've been wondering since my first day, but am I not supposed to wear a gray robe too? If you were going to wear a robe, it wouldn't be a gray one, but since you're a new skill user, you don't have to wear one at all. Don't worry about it, he replied, a look of surprise on his face. You seem kind of different now. What do you mean? I tilted my head questioningly. Nah, never mind. Oh, so they didn't tell him about the status ailment thing. Okay, yeah, because, he would have questioned it, wondering how he was able to get rid of them, but whatever. Scratching his cheek slightly, he started walking. I followed behind him, book in my arms. Our destination was my sunny personal lab. Lord Glenn was waiting inside with his usual gentle, angelic smile on his face. I'll leave the rest to you. I'll be out in the fields. After dropping me off, Lord Trist cheerfully skipped out. He must really love working the fields. I guess anytime he gets to use his magic, he's happy. Trist is making a field for all the seeds you create. Oh, it's so cool! Lord Glenn says as he watched Lord Trist leave. After all, we can't be sure the seeds you make are really the seeds you wanted to make without growing them. So that means examining my skill is going to take a long time, huh? The words just slipped out of my mouth, and Lord Glenn gave me the same shocked look as Lord Trist had. Is something the matter? Lord Glenn looked above my head as I tilted it in confusion. Not all of those status ailments were physical. Some of them were mental, so now that they've been cured, she can have conversations normally. He was muttering something, but I couldn't catch any of it. After a while, he gave my head a pat. Seems like you're feeling a lot better. So I'm going to teach you a lot today. He took my hand and led me to the table. Then he sat in the chair across from me. I look forward to working with you, I replied, straightening my posture before giving him a proper bow. You don't need to be that formal. I'll be teaching you the basics on mana first. Yeah, because you need to increase your mana pool, girl. You only have the freaking mana of a 3-year-old. And you're 12. That's embarrassing. Embarrassing, yes, but also very sad considering what you've been through. Lord Glenn started. Mana is generally described as something that most people can't see, but it is in everything. Air, water, earth, living things take it in from those to live. I nodded, looking into his blue eyes. The mana we take in is stored inside of us in what we call the mana pool. This is used up when we use skills or magic and refills when you eat and sleep. So the reason I suddenly fell asleep was because I emptied my mana pool and had to sleep to refill it, right? Right, he replied with a happy smile. What we just talked about is what everyone is taught, but the real lesson starts here. New research has actually shown that eating delicious food grows your mana pool. Really? That would explain why her mana pool is so low. Because she hasn't been eating. And what she eats is barely anything at all. No wonder it was so small. He kept going excitedly. It's always been a mystery as to why royals and nobles have larger mana pools than commoners, but now we know that it's because they've been eating high-quality, delicious food since they were young. If we can get the common people eating the same kind of things, it'll grow their pools and they'll have better lives. If everyone can use clean, then there'll be fewer plagues. Suddenly he slapped a hand over his mouth, looking surprised. His ears were a bit red, too. After clearing his throat, his usual gentle smile returned. What was that about? Anyway, from today on, we're going to have you eat delicious food to grow your mana pool. And you also need to get your stomach bigger, too. So, while it was busy being surprised, Lord Glenn rang a bell that had been on top of the table. Knocking first, Gina came in pushing a cart inside. Lord Glenn then led me by the hand to the sofa. What you need to do is check how much mana she's got before she starts this little experiment. And then after you've done it for a while, then see how much it has grown. Ow. Sorry, I had pulled on my shorts and I lost my grip and it hit my desk. Ow. That hurt. Gina laid a white cloth on the table and put a big cushion on the seat I'd been sitting on. After that, she bowed to Lord Glenn before pushing her cart back outside. Next, Martha came in with another cart. It smelled sweet. I gulped and Lord Glenn gave me another pat on the head from his spot beside me. Martha quickly set tea and plates of sweets out on the table before moving to stand by the wall. Looks like they're done. Let's go back over. Lord Glenn said, leading me back to the table by the hand again. I sat on the chair with the big cushion. In front of me was sweets, not a delicious meal. Wow, they're cute, I murmured. Adorable! Lord Glenn's smile got even bigger. Any delicious food will work, so I had them bring us sweets. Now let's start our mana pool growing tea party. I've never been to a tea party before. Oh, that's still so sad. It's mostly been so freaking sad he has to deal with this. I was so happy I smiled. Oh, that was adorable. The next instant, Lord Glenn froze. I could see Martha in shock over by the wall. What? She has a cute little smile? Oh, she's so cute! She's so cute! Oh no, I let my guard down and smiled, even though Lady Medicina and Lady Margaret always told me not to. I quickly put my usual emotionless face back on and lowered my head. I'm sorry for showing you something. No, it's not horrible. It's not horrible. Lord Glenn looked confused as I apologized. What do you mean? My smile is so ugly that I should never make anyone else see it. No, it's not ugly. It's pure and cute. Who told you that? My mother, Lady Medicina, and my sister, Lady Margaret. As soon as I said that, Lord Glenn stood, uh-oh. His chair clattered and the table shook, nearly spilling the tea in our cups. I looked up at him surprised. Why do you use lady for both your mother and sister? Oh boy, here we go. He's not going to be too thrilled about all this. I wonder what he's going to do. Since I'm such a failure, part of their disciplining me was having me call them that. It just gets worse the more I hear. I know! He muttered before sitting down again with a sigh. I'm sorry for scaring you. Oh no, it was my fault for... No, it's not your fault. He furrowed his brow. I'll be straight with you. You're really cute. You're not ugly in the least. So if you want to smile, smile, he said, staring straight at me as he did. I could see Martha nodding along by the wall. I'd never been told anything so positive to my face before, so I didn't know how to respond. And I want you to forget everything you learned back at home as discipline. I'll be teaching you about a lot of things instead, so focus on remembering what I say. Okay, I nodded. If Lord Glenn, a nationally approved appraiser, and the person who cured me was telling me that, I'd believe him. Now, let's eat. Okay. We gave a little prayer to the earth god before looking at the sweets spread across the table. Each sweet was small enough to eat in 1 or 2 bites. I should teach you what the sweets are called, too, Lord Glenn said before telling me what everything on the table was called. The crunchy bread-like things were called scones and were usually bigger. You ate them with jam or cream. The pink stuff in the little cups was strawberry jelly, and it wiggled. So cute. So cute. I'm sorry, she's so adorable. There were also little dark brown chunks of something called chocolate, which made me happy with just a bite. After trying these 3, I couldn't eat another bite. The table was still covered in treats I'd never had before, too. Should I make myself eat more just to grow my mana pool? Only eat as much as you'll actually enjoy. It won't have any effect if you force yourself, Lord Glenn imparted, seemingly realizing what I was thinking. Let's just drink our tea and chat. And so he taught me the names of the sweets I hadn't managed to eat. After lunch at noon, Lord Triss came back holding 2 trays. His white robe was spotted with dirt, and I could tell he had been in the fields all morning. He set both trays on the table with a smile. One was empty, while the other had a flower with the roots still attached. I got the flower and seed from the gardener. It's called baby's breath. I want you to try to make these seeds today. Looking closely at the tray, I could see something near the edge. Apparently, baby's breath seeds were really tiny. After carefully studying the seeds and flower, I straightened myself up and cast my skill. Make a baby's breath seed. Seed creation. With the tiniest clink, a little seed appeared on the empty tray. Lord Triss compared the seeds on each tray before nodding to himself. They look exactly the same. Tiny seeds like this have a hard time coming to sprout. Can you make 4 more seeds just in case? Okay, I replied, making 4 seeds in a row. Next, I want to get you to make a big seed. I'll bring you another example, Lord Triss said, starting to tidy up. He must want to experiment to see how big the seeds I can make can get. I suddenly remembered a big seed from my guide. Pulling it out, I flipped to the page, pointing it out. How about this one? The seed I was pointing to was for something called a palm tree, which grew in warm climates. Specifically, I was pointing to one called a coconut palm, which grew fruit with juice inside. A coconut, huh? I forgot that was a seed too, Lord Glenn spoke up, getting up from the sofa to stand beside me with an interested look on his face. Lord Triss was just staring at the page, enthralled. I didn't even know this existed, but I'm interested. Let's do it. Okay then, make a coconut palm seed, seed creation. As soon as I finished casting, a big brown seed rolled onto the tray. It was about the size of an adult's palm. So this is a coconut, huh? It really is big, Lord Triss grinned from ear to ear as he examined the coconut palm seed. So you can make seeds that you see in books, murmured Lord Glenn, hand to his mouth as he stared at me. It looks like it. I'll make lots more. I was honestly happy knowing that the more seeds I can make, the more it would help in researching my skill. Coconuts are big, so let's just go with one of them. I want to see you make some other seeds from your book. I nodded at Lord Triss before making another few seeds I wanted to try. Strawberry, melon, and peach seeds. Those are all yummy fruits. I can't wait to get them planted. Lord Triss's eyes were positively sparkling as he looked at the seeds on the tray. They'll take a good while to grow, but I was really excited too. Okay, since you've used your skill 9 times already, we'll stop here for today. Tomorrow's our break day, so I'll pick you up in the morning after, Lord Triss said before skipping out with a tray of seeds. Okay, 5. How to spend a day off. Today was a day off for staff at the Royal Research Institute, and no one could go inside without special permission. Gina explained things to me while I ate my breakfast. Since you're considered a member of the staff, please take the time to relax today. What should I be doing on my day off, I asked her, tilting my head. Back at the Utaris Manor, the only days I could remember not working were when I was too feverish to move or too injured from whippings the day before. After coming here, I hadn't worked for the 3 days following my status ailments being cured, and then it was a few days more afterward, until Lord Ishilgave cleared me to get out of bed. So basically, I only ever rested when I wasn't well. It was my first time having a day off since I've been feeling okay. I believe it will be best for you to do something you want to do, Gina said, looking troubled. Something I want to do? Something I tried to think of something, but nothing really came to mind. Oh, you poor thing! I just want to hug her! The only thing I could think of is wanting to thank the two of you for working so hard. Hearing my words, Gina and Martha brought their hands to their mouths, tearing up. Did I say something strange? Lady Chelsea, your feelings are all we need. What you said now was thanks enough. They both shook their heads. I really couldn't think of anything else. Oh, no. While I was mentally groaning, Martha clapped her hands. Why not go for a tour of the facilities? You haven't gone anywhere but the Royal Research Institute or the lodging house, have you, Lady Chelsea? No, I haven't. Martha smiled. There are lots of different facilities within the Citadel. You can make it a field trip. That's a good idea coming from you, Gina followed up. It will be good for her to know where the Knights and Mages Order are. Martha puffed her chest out proudly, and in return, Gina lightly mimed slapping Martha's stomach. They were so funny that I couldn't help but grin. Seeing my expression, Martha looked really happy, while Gina looked like she was on the verge of tears again. Oh, they're just happy to see her happy. I could just hear Lady Medicina's voice reprimand me, but at the same time I remembered how Lord Glenn had said to smile when I wanted to smile. I decided to believe him instead. He told me to forget everything I was taught as discipline in the manor, so I shook off Lady Medicina's words from my mind. If only it were that easy, but I guess the psychological trauma is gone now. Lady Chelsea, your smile is cute enough to make everyone around you happy. If you're having fun or find something amusing, feel free to smile. Okay, I replied, doing just as they said. While I was drinking my after-meal tea, Gina left the room. A little bit later, she came back in with a man I didn't know. He was impressively tall with broad shoulders and short black hair, and he had the same little yellow cape on his shoulder as the guards outside my door. He looked older than Lord Glenn, but he might have been around Lord Triss's age. I am curious as to how old these people are. Hopefully we'll get some answers. Because I'm assuming that Lord Glenn is at the very youngest 15 years old. At the very youngest. At least 15, if not maybe a little older than that. I am the second son of Margrave Sergeant Marksford and Deputy Commander of the Second Order of Knights. Please call me Marks, he introduced himself with a bow. Nice to meet you. My name is Chelsea, and I'm the daughter of Baron Eucharis. I rushed to reply, jumping to my feet and bowing my head. I still hadn't learned how to introduce myself like a noble yet. I need to learn quick. It's an honor to meet such a lovely lady. Would you care to tour the Citadel with me today? It looked like Gina had left to go bring Lord Marks here. I couldn't help but wonder if someone as important as a deputy commander should be showing me around. Is it okay for someone like me to go with you? I asked. He gave me a big smile with teeth so white it was almost blinding. It's because it's you that it's alright. Let's get going. Okay. Getting caught in his pace, I followed him out of the room. Outside there were 2 knights I hadn't seen before. These 2 will be your guards today. Treat them as if they aren't there. You'll have to become used to doing so as a noble. It'll be hard to just ignore people who are right here, but if it was normal for nobles, I'd have to get used to it. I gave the 2 guard knights a little bow, and they gave me a big smiles back. There are various buildings and facilities inside the Citadel. The castle where the royal family lives, the royal castle itself, guest homes, the Knight's Guard room, the Mage Order's laboratories, the library, the gardens, the list goes on. Quite honestly, we could never tour them all in one day, Lord Marks explained as he walked north for the lodging house. Today I'll be mainly showing you the western side. We'll go to the building closest to the lodging house first. To the immediate north is the guard room for the Second Order of Knights. If you need anything, we'll come running. As we walked north, there was another brown brick building beside the lodging house. On the wall by the entrance was a yellow banner with some sort of symbol. Yellow is the color of the knights. The guards stationed outside of your room are knights as well. The Second Order's headquarters is elsewhere, Lord Marks said with another big smile. Across from the Knight Station and beside the Royal Research Institute is the library. You should be able to borrow and read anything you wish, Miss Chelsea. I hear that you've been reading botanical guides to go along with your skill, but it may be good for you to read other normal books as well. I'd like that, I said, nodding to him. Back at the Eucharis Manor, I'd snuck looks at a picture book to make sure that I could read properly. It was about a poor girl who transformed thanks to a mage. I used to dream of a mage coming to save me too. Oh, you kind of had gotten that wish. The book was taken away from me immediately, but I remembered having a lot of fun. To think I can read like that again. Excited, I headed toward the library. It was a round and tall building like a tower. Inside, books covered the walls, and it was shockingly dark. Sunlight fades the books, so they're kept out of it. When you need to look for a book, you can either use the spell Light or borrow a magic tool. Since I couldn't use magic, I borrowed a lantern-shaped magic tool and began aimlessly looking for a book to read. I'd suggest something from around here, Lord Marks suggested helpfully, leading me to a shelf of stories. I picked a book titled Fairy Story. It looked interesting. It was about a fairy born from a flower who fell in love with a prince. What if a fairy was born from one of the seeds I create? It was fun just thinking about it. We don't know that. I doubt it. The next place we went to is a big, well-maintained garden. This is called the Great Western Garden, and it's frequently used for parties. It's a strange spot. From the center to the north is off-limits because it connects to the royal family's living quarters. There's a barrier so no one can even approach it without permission, he told me, knocking his fist against the barrier. I couldn't see anything, but it looked like there was a glass-like wall standing there. I was slightly relieved to know I wouldn't be able to accidentally enter uninvited. On the other side of the arch is a greenhouse. There's a little space to take a break inside, so let's head there. Following Lord Marks, we moved to the greenhouse. Inside were flowers of all colors. Wow, it's so pretty! I'm glad you like it. Oh, it seems I've forgotten something. Please wait here for a moment. Okay. After Lord Marks showed me inside, he quickly turned and went back out. Since he asked me to wait, I started looking around at the flowers of various sizes. One certain flower caught my eye. It was light pink with lots of petals. It was almost the same color as my hair. I wanted to make this flower seed someday. As I carefully examined the flower and its stem, I heard the greenhouse door open again. I turned around thinking it was Lord Marks, but instead it was my younger sister. Uh-oh. This is not gonna go well. Lady Margaret. She was wearing a showy red dress she used to wear back in the manor, and her hair was pulled into a ponytail. I was surprised since she usually left it down at home. Looking a bit closer, I saw that her skin was breaking out and her hair wasn't as shiny as before. She's not been bathing. As I was inspecting her, she was looking me over from head to toe, too. Why is someone as ugly as you wearing such nice clothes? She screamed, shaking with anger. Ugly? Lady Margaret called me that all the time at home, but I hadn't been called ugly once since I got here. Trade clothes with me. That's an order. That's an order. Lady Medicina used to say that to me, too, but this is the first time that Lady Margaret had. Why should I trade clothes with you? Words I never would have said up until now slipped out of my mouth. The dress was in my room. You were given a room just like mine, weren't you? There might be something similar inside your walk-in closet. She doesn't have a walk-in closet. Ooh, this is going to be awkward. She's going to be even more pissed off. I hadn't heard anything about the rooms for people with new skills and control trainees being different, so she surely was getting the same treatment as me. Why wouldn't she have a big room with maids and a walk-in closet filled with clothes? I mean, that's what you assume because you don't know any different. You don't know that the rooms are different. I just went with the momentum and kept talking, but Lady Margaret's eyes just widened, her face going red with rage. She lifted her hand and charged at me. She was going to hit me like she did back at home. I shut my eyes tight and braced myself for impact, but it never came. Hesitantly opening my eyes again, I saw the guard knight standing between us. What? We've been ordered to eliminate anyone who harms Lady Chelsea, one of the guards said, shielding me. Hearing that, Lady Margaret's face got even redder. That thing is my older sister. I'm not harming her, I'm disciplining her. Saying that, she tried to get at me by going around the knights, but it didn't work. One of the knights grabbed her by the arm, twisting it up behind her. Ouch, let me go! Let me go! And no matter how much he screamed and struggled, the knight didn't soften his grip. While this was happening, Lord Marks walked back inside the greenhouse holding a basket. He frowned when he saw Lady Margaret. Sir Knight, please save me. I was just trying to discipline my sister, and these men grabbed me. Lady Margaret screeched at him, seemingly not noticing his demeanor. A knight who wasn't holding her walked up to him and whispered something in his ear. In response, Lord Marks nodded a few times before completely ignoring her. Walking back up to me, he gave me another smile. I apologize for the wait. I'd forgotten to pick this up, he said, opening the basket slid slightly to show me what was inside. Bagels and a bottle filled with a drink peeked out at me. Oh, it's no trouble at all, Lord Marks. It looks delicious. Seeing me answer him, Lady Margaret screeched again, begging, Your name is Lord Marks, Sir Knight? I am the daughter of Baron Eucharis, granddaughter of Marquis Ackroyd. Stop these insolent knights, please. Lord Marks heaved a great sigh before turning toward her. I haven't introduced myself to you yet, nor have I given you permission to use my name. Haven't you been taught that it's disrespectful to call a royal or noble by their name without permission? I couldn't see his face, but I could tell from the low tone of his voice that he was angry. Ooh, yeah, you never... Girl, you would think that since she was being taught manners by her mother, you would think that she'd been taught to treat nobles with the utmost respect, essentially. Anybody with the utmost respect, because you never know if they're nobles or not. He'd been so warm to me, but it was scary how cold he was to Lady Margaret. She paled, looking away in silence. Heaving another big sigh, Lord Marks turned back to me, but there was no anger in his face, only his bright smile from before. He scooped me up easily with the arm he wasn't using to hold the basket. Let's get going. Hold on tightly so you don't fall. I would have asked about that flower before you left, but whatever. He didn't seem to mind the strange sound that came out of me. I clung to his neck just as he ordered. Carrying me through the greenhouse, he came to a stop in an open area. There was a wooden table and chair, so this must have been the break area he mentioned. He lowered me onto one of the cushioned seats, set the basket on the table, and then bowed before me. Though it was only momentary, my act of leaving your side resulted in an unpleasant experience for you. Forgive me. Oh no, I wasn't hurt thanks to the guard knights. Please don't bow to me. Yeah, she's not a noble. What am I saying? She is a noble, but she's nowhere near probably his rank, you know? Because from what I understand, I'm assuming that that a baron essentially is probably the lowest noble form, right? Or noblest rank? Right? And the fact that they're essentially broke because they couldn't afford to send Margaret a maid speaks volumes that they're the lowest of the low, essentially. And Margaret's acting like she's so self-important. Flustered, I tried to get him to raise his head. Really, between the daughter of Baron Eucharis and the son of Margaret's sergeant, the latter was higher in rank. He shouldn't be bowing to someone lower than him. I was relieved when he straightened up, but he immediately bowed again, and though it was an emergency, it was terribly rude of me to pick up a lady. I'm guessing there's rules about this, or whatever. I don't mind, it's all right. Please raise your head. Just as I was begging him again, we heard footsteps. Lord Mark shot up, standing ready. The person who approached was one of the guard knights, who walked up to him with a serious look on his face before quietly whispering something. What did you say? I want to know! What happened? I see. Lord Marks responded with an equally serious face before the knight turned and left the way he came. Turning back to me with another bright smile, he started unpacking the contents of the basket onto the table. When I tried to stand up to help, he stopped me, setting some cups and the bottle inside on the table, and leaving the basket open, everything was ready. I thought that the greenhouse would be hot, so I had some chilled fruit water prepared for us, he explained as he poured the splendidly cool drink into the cups and set them on the table. Let's eat. Okay. After saying a short prayer to the earth gods, I took a piece of one of the bagels which had been cut into quarters. Lord Marks also grabbed one and ate it by taking a bite out. I guessed I wouldn't have to rip it apart like bread, so I bit into mine in two. Inside was smooth cream cheese, salty ham, and lettuce. Oh, it's a bagel sandwich! Salty food is always better after walking around a lot. Yeah, it's really good, I said, remembering to swallow what was in my mouth before speaking. After eating only a fourth, I was already full. If you're full, can I eat the rest? I nodded as I drank my fruit powder, and he popped the bagel into his mouth. Aw, she needs to hurry and get her stomach bigger. She needs to be able to enjoy more good food. Oh, he's so nice. I like him. He's so nice. All the people here have been so nice to her, except Margaret. Once we finished eating, Lord Marks looked to me. There are some things I need for you to know, he started. First, just for confirmation, the girl from earlier said that she was your sister. Is that true? Yes, we don't look like each other, but I was raised as her twin sister. Then I'll get to it. Do you understand that you and your sister's position at the Institute are different? I shook my head no. You've come to the Royal Research Institute at the request of the country. In simple terms, you're a guest of honor, Miss Chelsea. A guest of honor is a super important guest, isn't it? And I'm one? I had a huge, wonderful room prepared with my own maids and knights to guard me. Thinking more about it, I realized how well I was being treated. In comparison, that girl has come here to undertake control training as her duty, which would make her a student. I could understand the difference between a student and a guest of honor. Huh. Then wouldn't that mean her room isn't as big as mine and that she might not have personal maids? Oh, yeah. Considering the fact that you saw her skin was breaking out and her hair wasn't really clean, that should have been a big clue right there that she didn't have a maid to keep her clean and stuff. That must have been why she was wearing one of her dresses from home and was breaking out. Yeah. I didn't realize, but I said something horrible to her. Today she tried to raise a hand against the guest of honor. Even if you are sisters, that's unforgivable, Lord Mark said with a grim look. Oh, is she going to be sent back home? I hope so. That would be the greatest freaking failure. She'd be sent home as a failure. Calling her sister a failure when she herself is a failure. Woo! Irony! Back in the Ucharis Manor, I was frequently disciplined by Lady Margaret with beatings, but this wasn't the manner. We couldn't act as we had back at home. From how she spoke, you were frequently abused under the guise of discipline, weren't you? We'll make sure that she can't come anywhere near you anymore, so don't worry. He gave me another bright, teeth-flashing smile. Please tell me she got sent back home because of her actions. Please. Oh, here we go! Interlude 3, Marks. After we finished our lunch, I walked around the Great Western Garden with Miss Chelsea. From the garden, you could see the royal residence, guest houses, and the center of our government, the royal castle. I told her to avoid going near them unless she had to. There were many nobles who would jump at the chance to use someone with a brand new skill like hers. It would be awful if she was found by one of those hyenas and suddenly talked into an engagement before she knew it. While she didn't smile, her eyes sparkled curiously wherever I led her. I'd heard that she'd been abused back at home, but from how she acted, the possibility that she had been held captive as well had risen. After cursorily showing her around the western part of the citadel, I brought her back to the Institute's lodging house. I cannot talk today, apparently. If anything happens, make sure to tell someone around you immediately. I swear that the Second Order of Knights, especially, will protect you from anything. As I told her that at the doorway of her room, both of the knights who had acted as her guards gave strong nods as well. All right, thank you very much. Then she bowed deeply. I could only imagine how hard her life must have been for the daughter of a noble to act that way. I gave her another bright grin to try to act as cheerfully as possible. Thank you for giving me a tour, Lord Marks. Gratefully taking her last comment, I left, returning to the guard room with the two knights who had been guarding her. They both went on their breaks while I entered the Deputy Commander's office. Welcome back, Deputy Commander. Has something happened? The moment I walked in, I heard a voice. The owner of it was my aide and fiancée, Stacy. Oh, he's getting married. That is so cute. I love that. In a sense, yes. It's not like you to put on airs like that, she said with a smile, cleaning up the documents on my desk. That had been my job originally, but after taking on the role of Miss Chelsea's guide, Stacy did my paperwork for me. After wandering the room for a bit, I sat on the sofa with a thud. Stacy glanced at me but didn't say anything. She must have been waiting for me to start. I've told you about that aunt of mine that my grandparents, parents, and uncles doted on, right? Aunt? Hold on. Aunt of yours, that my grandparents, parents, and uncles doted on, right? Yes, when I went to visit your family, I was shown many portraits while being told about her. There was a lot of them, from when she was first born to one in a gown after she became an adult, she recalled, forcing a smile. I heard that she left home soon after that to find true love. Lady Medicina is your aunt? Oh my god! So, essentially... Hold on, she's your aunt. And that means her daughters, Lady Margaret and Chelsea, are... your cousins! Oh! Imagine having that! Oh my god, I would not want that as my aunt or my cousin. Chelsea, yes, but the other two, no. I nodded. It ended up being that her true love was Baron Eucharis. Apparently they met while she was masquerading as a common adventurer. Stacy looked shocked, slapping a hand over her mouth. She must have been trying to hide her dropping jaw. And so they married while she was still pretending to be a commoner and died a few years later without birthing a child, or so we were told. Is Lady Medicina know what we're talking about? Because so we were told, which means that she's still alive. She wordlessly pressed me for more information. After making sure no one else was around to hear us, I continued, Miss Chelsea is a spitting image of my aunt? Wait a minute. Hold on a second here. Oh wait, is the aunt... Are those two half-sisters? Not twin sisters? That would explain why they don't look alike. I am very confused. Okay, so if that's the case, then that means that Baron Eucharis got married to Chelsea's mom, and Chelsea was born, and she died probably during childbirth or whatever. And then the Baron got married again to Lady Medicina and had Margaret, not long after. Or Margaret might not even be his daughter. It might be from another marriage or something. We don't know. Miss Chelsea was the lady you just gave a tour to, wasn't she? I heard that she had awakened to a brand new skill and was a Baron Eucharis' daughter. Yes, her hair was a different length than my aunt's in her portraits, but Lady Chelsea had her unique pink gold hair and the amethyst eyes particular to the Sergeant Margraviot. She was terribly thin, but her face was near identical. But your aunt died without giving birth to a child, didn't she? Stacy asked, staring at my face. I also met Miss Chelsea's twin sister today. She called me by my nickname before we even greeted each other. She's nobility, but she acted like a commoner. I scowled, thoroughly repulsed. Her younger twin sister's hair and eyes were red, and they didn't resemble each other at all. That's when I thought, what if Miss Chelsea was actually my aunt's child? That would make sense that there might not even be here's two options. They're either half-siblings, or they're not even related at all. Like, by blood, I mean. Because what I'm assuming is, Baron Eucharis got married to Chelsea's mom. She died either during childbirth or soon after. And then he ended up getting married to Lady Medicina and either had Margaret or she already had Margaret from a previous marriage. We'll find out. Stacy looked shocked at my revelation. She looked at me in the eyes and nodded, just what I expected from my fiancé. I was glad she got what I was going at so quickly. That's something worth investigating. So can I leave it to you? Who do you think I am? My beloved Stacy, who has both the high-level search and mid-level appraisal skills, I replied immediately. Oh, if she had to, all she would have to do would be find Baron Eucharis himself and question him. Probably under threat of torture, but question him about who the parentage is, essentially. And this would also explain why Lady Medicina hated Chelsea the way she did. Because why would you treat your daughter this way if she was your biological daughter, even if you had a clear favorite? She smiled at how quick my response was. Her search skill let her assess exactly what she wanted out of the various information. She could find just where the books she wanted in the library were, pick out only the necessary information from paperwork, or pick out only fire magic users from a group of people. That kind of thing. Leave it to me. But I need to finish this paperwork first. That was supposed to be my job originally. You focus on your special mission. I stood up and headed toward my desk. Seeing me coming, she mercilessly tossed the documents toward my direction. I'll leave it to you then, Stacy said, leaving the room with a skip in her step. I should be fine letting her do the background checks, but one other thing that needed doing was writing a letter to my father, the current Margrave. Saving the ill-fated princess is the knight's job, I muttered while starting to flip through the paperwork. Oh my god, that is so... Oh my god, that is a huge revelation. I really hope that's the case because Chelsea deserves a happy life. Happy family. The seed of the spirit tree. The morning of the day after our break, I had another mana pool growing tea party with Lord Glenn. Today's main treat was pancakes covered in cream. Yummy! So he taught me utensil etiquette. You held the knife in your right hand and the fork in your left, and cut things into bite-sized pieces before eating them. I had a lot of trouble since I wasn't used to it, but when I managed to bring it to my mouth, the sweetness of the cream and fluffiness of the pancakes spread around my mouth, and it was delicious. Is eating yummy things really necessary for growing your mana pool? Without the appraisal skill, I couldn't tell if it was doing anything. I could have asked Lord Glenn to use his on me, but asking a nationally recognized appraiser to do it was far too scary, so I didn't. In the afternoon after our lunch, Lord Triss came with an old scroll and a dictionary. Last time you created seeds that you saw in your book. If you can do that, you might be able to make extinct or fictional seeds after looking at documents that describe them. Ooh, this could be interesting. Saying that, he unrolled the scroll on the table before me. That might end up taking all her mana. On it were pictures of a big tree and leaves and letters that I'd never seen before. What does it say? Apparently, it described the world tree in ancient script, he answered, flipping to the dictionary to translate every character. Lord Glenn got up off the sofa, walking up to our table. He took a look at the old scroll and said, "This isn't about the world tree, but spirit trees." Huh? Spirit trees? Wait, forget that. You can read ancient script? Yeah, thanks to my skill. Maybe his appraisal skill would let him read things like this? Lord Triss has dropped his dictionary, hearing this apparently shocking revelation. If you can understand ancient script, you'd be able to read the murals on the temple's walls or the stone monuments around the border, he muttered quickly, staring into the void. Since it wasn't his usual slow tone, I didn't catch a word of it. Spirit trees are trees that birth spirits who can cleanse the miasma, or so it says, Lord Glenn continued, completely ignoring Lord Triss's outburst. They can be duplicated through cuttings from the original spirit tree, and the leaves can be used for mana potions while the trunks keep the miasma away. A tree that births spirits. That's just like the fairy storybook I borrowed. Tree cuttings were when you remove branches or stems from a tree and planted them directly into the earth to make more trees. The old gardener had done it a lot. It also says the origin spirit tree was burned in a mountain fire long ago, so they don't exist anymore. Does it say anything about the seeds, I asked? Nothing on here, no. Up until now, I'd memorized what seeds and grown plants were like in reality on my book, and only been able to summon those ones I knew. If I didn't say anything about the seed, I didn't know if I'd be able to create it. Chelsea, your skill is to create the seeds you wish for. You might be able to do it if you wish, even without seeing anything about it. I mean, couldn't hurt to try. Worst case is that you can't. If I wish... Okay, I'll look closely at what's on the scroll first. I examined how the old scroll illustrated the leaves and twigs and how it looked as it grew. I also asked Lord Glenn what exactly was written in the annotations and learned about everything but the seeds. Okay, I'll try to make it now. You never know what you can do until you try. This is for investigating my skill anyway. I clasped my hands in front of me in a prayer-like fashion before whispering, I want to make a spirit tree seed creation. Right after I cast it, something rolled onto the old scroll, making a bigger thunk than usual. It looked like a clear glass orb just a bit bigger than my fist, a size I could hide in my hands. Huh? You actually made a spirit tree seed! Wait, it looks like a marble. Lord Triss had still been staring into space and muttering while Lord Glenn and I were talking, but he came back to his senses when I made the seed, going back to his usual calm tone. He looked at the clear orb from different angles while Lord Glenn's eyes widened in shock. How did it go? I asked timidly. Lord Glenn covered his mouth and said, My appraisal is showing it as a spirit tree seed. Woo! Lord Triss cheered excitedly and went to touch it, but Lord Glenn grabbed his hand to stop him. Its full name is the spirit tree seed that Chelsea created, and the notes say only Chelsea should touch it. Quickly dig a hole in a sunny large space near Chelsea and bury it. My jaw dropped, not understanding what was happening. We all seemed to be at a loss for words, but after a bit, Lord Glenn broke the silence. The best spot near Chelsea would be outside this lab. Let's bury it there, he said. I nodded in response. Okay, we've got permission, Lord Glenn announced as he re-entered the room. We could do whatever we wanted in my personal lab, but we needed permission from the higher-ups like the chief to do anything outside. Let's go plant it then. Saying that, Lord Triss grabbed the scroll and opened the door leading outside from the lab. Outside was just a patch of lawn that was about the size of my room. Plant it as far away from the building as you can. How about here? Lord Triss pointed to a spot about 3 carriage lengths away from the building. That should be good. I'll dig a hole then. Earth magic. With a rumble, a hole big enough to put the spirit tree seed in opened in the ground. It was the first time I saw earth magic used. It really did seem quite useful for field work and fun. Okay, drop the seed in here. Since it says berry rather than plant, I'll make it a bit deeper than usual. Alright. Nodding to Lord Triss, I walked to the hole and dropped the glass orb-like spirit seed tree seed inside. It looks really deep. I'll bury it now. Earth magic. The moment he cast it, the hole closed in on itself with a glub. We stared at the little mound of dirt left for a while. It doesn't look like it's going to sprout immediately, I murmured, and the two men nodded in response. The notes in the appraisal were strange, so we all seemed to have misunderstood. Just as we were about to leave, the ground began to shake. I almost felt... It's gonna sprout already? Damn! I almost fell from the sudden movement, but Lord Glenn caught me. I was shocked to be held like a princess. Thank you. When I tried to thank him, something sprouted from the ground with a big roar. It was clear like glass, just like the seed had been, and it sparkled. Once it grew to about my height, it started sprouting leaves. Instead of growing to a sapling, it seemed to have skipped right to a tree. I clung to Lord Glenn in shock while Lord Triss went to work comparing the leaves and things to what was illustrated on the scroll. The leaves are the same shape as what's drawn here, but they're clear like glass. Lord Glenn was just staring at the tree. He was probably using appraisal. It says it's the origin spirit tree, he announced. But the origin spirit tree doesn't exist anymore. Yes, it does now! It means you made a new one, Chelsea. He softly smiled at me from close enough that our noses nearly touched. His angelic smile was right in front of my eyes. Wait, he's still holding me. When I started panicking, he gently set me back on the ground. Thank you, I muttered to blurt out, which had just made him smile wider as he pat my head. Lord Triss was completely ignoring us, examining the spirit tree. That's weird. Didn't the scroll say it's supposed to birth spirits? Yeah, it did, but it didn't say how. So we're just going to have to watch and wait, huh? Yeah, I mean, kind of have to. Lord Glenn nodded. After that, we stood until dusk, but nothing else happened that day. The next morning, I headed toward the lab with the restless Lord Triss. Opening the door, the room was dark, not at all like usual. This room is supposed to get the most sunlight in the whole institute. This is strange. Thinking that as I stepped farther inside, I saw that Lord Glenn was standing at the window, and beyond him, the outside scenery was all green. I blinked in surprise. Good morning, Chelsea. It was already like this when I got here. Good morning, Lord Glenn. It's gotten really big overnight, huh? Walking outside, I could see that it had grown to the second story of the institute. When I looked up, I saw something sparkle. Just as I was thinking I imagined it, something fell fast from above, stopping just before it hit the ground. What had fallen was a translucent man wearing a light cloth around him, and he was floating. He was inhumanly beautiful, with big earrings that looked like the spirit tree leaves hanging from his ears, and a jingly-looking necklace on its neck. His hair was long enough to reach the ground. Since he's see-through and floating, he can't be human, right? While I stood there dumbfounded, the translucent man stared not at my face, but the spot above my head. It seems that you are the one who birthed me. You should do. After nodding to himself, the translucent man snapped his fingers. Suddenly, I couldn't hear anything. No sound of the wind blowing, though the leaves of the trees, no far-off voices, nothing. I looked around in shock, only to see that Lord Glenn and Lord Triss were frozen in place. According to the reason of the world, time must be stopped when contracts are made, the man explained, grabbing my right hand. I am Element, king of the spirits. Here I will make a contract with thee. Oh, this is gonna be good! Margaret's gonna lose her shit! Her skill ain't useless after all! As I said that, my thumbnail sparkled. Then the translucent man snapped his fingers again, and the sound came back. Refer to me as L from now on. Lord L whispered, and there was a sudden gust of wind. It was so strong that I had to close my eyes for a moment. When I opened them, he was gone. Huh? He's gone. What was that? Lord Triss gasped. It seems we've made a contract. I explained what just happened to both Lord Glenn and Lord Triss. Lord Glenn looked above my head, furrowing his brow. It's true, you did make a contract with the spirit. Your occupation now shows as the Spirit King's contractor. Lord Triss' eyes went wide as Lord Glenn's explanation. The note says he's summonable near the spirit tree. Want to try? Okay. Nodding to him, I whispered, Lord L, are you there? Next instant, a fluffy silver kitten appeared floating in front of me with a gentle gust of wind. The kitten, just big enough to fit in both of my hands, looked at me and said, My beloved master, you may just call me L. Its voice was the same deep one as a transparent man's. Almost sucked in by him, I slowly grabbed Kitten held in my hands and yelled, He's so cute! I can imagine so! Any kitten is adorable! His fluffy kitten fuzz, his almost liquid-like soft body. Back at the Ucharis Manor, I'd seen kittens from the garden, but I'd never touched one before. He's so soft and fluffy! I pet him all over in a trance. Let's stop there. I am the king of spirits, you know. He's so flustered about it, but I imagine he likes it. I could hear him, but he was just so cute and fuzzy that I couldn't stop. Lady Chelsea, not my tummy, stop! A while later, the kitten-formed spirit was breathing heavily, exhausted. After that, we went back to the lab to talk. Inside, it was still dark from the shade of the grown spirit tree. It's dark. I thought we planted it far enough from the building, but I didn't think it'd get this big. Kitten L's ears twitched as Lord Glenn and I spoke. I will dispel the illusion during the day. Suddenly the room got brighter. Looking outside, the green leaves and brown trunk of the spirit tree were going clear like glass, sparkling like it had the day before. The room must have even been brighter than it was before. As I was thinking that while I held Kitten L, there was a knock on the door. Gina came in pushing her cart. Oh, that's right. It's just about time for our mana pool growing tea party. Let's talk while we have our tea, Lord Glenn said. Hearing his words, Lord Triss looked as if he'd just remembered something. I want to hear it too. Let me just go get the chief's permission, he yelled as he ran from the room. Gina pushed the cart to the table but froze when she looked at me. Looking closer, she was staring at Elle in his kitten form. For a moment she had an enchanted smile on her face before she went back to her usual serious look and started setting the table. She thought it was adorable too! A white tablecloth, delicious-looking sweets on trays, a teapot, and cups. It was pretty how she did it all so quickly without any wasted movements. When she was finished, she moved to the edge of the room. I could see her eyes were still on Kitten L, so she must have liked cats. How can you not like cats? Not like kittens. They're so adorable. Let's start our tea party first. We can talk when Triss gets back, Lord Glenn said with a soft smile gently pushing my back. I was about to sit down on my cushioned seat, but then I realized, would it be bad manners to eat while holding Elle? There are some people who eat with their pets in their laps at unofficial events, but in your case, since you're learning manners, you should put him down. Okay, I replied with a nod before looking down at Elle. I'll sit on the sofa, he said, jumping from my arms. Then he tottered over to the sofa and went to jump and missed. His body is too small, I can't reach. He was so small he fit on my palm after all. Just as I was about to go help, Gina did instead. Gently picking him up, she set him back down on the sofa. Her eyes were sparkling, but she quickly put the work face back on as she moved back to the wall. Let's eat. Sitting in my chair, I said a prayer to the earth gods. I'm going to start with this jiggly flan. It jiggled just like jelly did, but the flavor was completely different. I have never tried flan. I would love to try it someday. It was so delicious, I couldn't even form words. I blushed embarrassed, but Lord Glenn just smiled happily from his spot opposite me. Looks like the flan is your favorite, Chelsea. Lord Glenn looked toward Gina, who nodded in agreement. Yes, it does. Sometimes I see them conversing without words. Is this a special skill? I kept eating my flan as I wondered. Once I finished my flan and was asking about the other sweets' names, Lord Triss came back. Sorry I took so long. His white robe was covered in dirt. He must have gone to check the fields. Since Triss is here, let's get to the explanation. Lord Glenn said as Lord Triss sat down in an empty chair. Our eyes all fell on Kitten L curled up on the sofa, seemingly sensing our gaze as he sat up. Firstly, I thank you deeply for recreating the origin spirit tree, he started before bowing toward me. The little kitten is bowing, how cute! Gina's eyes were sparkling again, so I wasn't the only one thinking it. Can I ask something? Lord Triss raised his hand. All I can hear is meowing. What's he saying? I was hearing the same deep voice I heard from him in his spirit form, but maybe other people couldn't hear him at all? In this form, only my contractor and those with certain skills can hear my voice. Oh. After that, I started repeating what Elle said in kitten form. Spirits are beings who come to this world via the spirit trees to cleanse the miasma. The old scrolls said that too, Lord Triss mumbled as he frantically transcribed every word that Elle spoke. Miasma is something that kills plants, pollutes water, and drives humans and animals mad. That's really dangerous, isn't it? I asked, and Elle nodded in response. I want to send more spirits to this world to cleanse the miasma, but that will require planting more spirit seeds. More spirit trees. And spirit trees can only be grown from cuttings from the origin tree. I nodded along since that's what the scroll said too. And the only one who can do cuttings is the one contracted to me, the Spirit King. Huh? Among those present, Lady Chelsea was the most suitable. That is why I entered a contract with her. There's nothing we could do if that was the reasoning. Both Lord Glenn and Lord Triss had indescribable looks on their faces. Please spread the spirit trees. You can begin after the origin spirit tree grows further, said Elle, bowing deeply once again. I can't do it right now since my skill is being researched, but it is okay to do it when I find time. He nodded at my answer. I need to report this to the higher-ups. Let's skip the afternoon experiments for today. Okay. I'll go tell the chief, Lord Triss said, rushing out of the room. Lord Glenn and I stood up at the same time. I'll bring you back to the lodging house, he said with his usual gentle smile. But what would Elle do, I thought. Want to come back to my room with me, Elle? I cannot move far from this spirit tree yet. Okay, see you tomorrow, I said, leaving the lab with Lord Glenn. Okay. I think I'm going to end this one off here, maybe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.